It's very important for marketing to be data oriented in anything we do. And so with product marketing, some businesses have a difficult time showcasing that.
Welcome to the Entail AI podcast, where we go behind the scenes with top marketing leaders and innovators who are driving growth for their brands. On this episode, we welcome Sonia Sidhpura, a marketing expert with over 15 years of experience in B2B and B2B2C SaaS roles. Sonia has held positions at VMware, Informatica, and Microsoft, and is currently the Divisional Vice President and Director of Product Marketing at Twilio Segment. Listen along as Sonia dives into Twilio Segment's approach to product marketing success.
Maybe before we start, if you don't mind, just telling a little bit more about your experience. I see you worked at Microsoft and now also at Twilio. Maybe you can also tell a bit about this product. I see Twilio all the time, where they chase me on Facebook, Instagram. Like I see their ads all the time. So, and I know they're like it's analytics solution, but maybe you can tell a little bit also about that. I'm just very curious.
Yeah. So I am a part of Segment, which is a customer data platform. I joined Segment maybe a few months before Twilio acquired us, the customer experience platform. And so you may be familiar with Twilio if you receive text messages reminding you to, I don't know, go to your doctor's appointment, or maybe something around your Nordstrom order, for example. But it's been a wild ride, and it's been amazing, being a part of the journey of Twilio acquiring Segment over the last 3.5 years. And of course, before that, I've been a part of very large companies like the likes of VMware, Microsoft, and even Informatica after they went public. And, I've always been a part of, I would say, within the larger companies, the well-funded startups or the very fast-moving areas. At VMware, we acquired a company called AirWatch. And really, my role there was to integrate AirWatch onto our Workspace ONE platform. And over at Microsoft, I was on an incubation team on a product that eventually became Azure Stack. So what you think about hybrid cloud, as well as telling the solution security story for Azure. So those are just some examples. But, I've been across a variety of different industries and sizes as well.
So you have a lot of experience under your belt, and so we want to speak about building products, but I guess at those big companies that you worked at, what's the average product team size? So how many people are usually on the teams that you work at or you manage?
Yeah. So over at Segment, I would say our product marketing team was around 15 to 20 people or so. And then when I joined, I was the second product marketing leader to join, and we scaled that entire product marketing team, but also our marketing team to be 80 individuals at our peak, I believe. And, over at VMware, I worked with 30 product managers, and we had a small and nimble marketing team. And at Microsoft, very, very similar. It's kind of a trend with product marketing and marketing. We're seeing that more so now than ever, where you need to be efficient. You need to be nimble and kind of move quick as well and make a big impact.
We're a startup, but we're working with large companies, some enterprises and unicorns as well. And I always see that I've never worked at such a big company. I don't know if it really fits my DNA. I don't know if I could survive there, but I see that, on one hand, they're able to really build a massive business, a very sustainable business. And then on the other hand, I often see how processes are so slow and so heavy, right? So how do you, and it's it often takes them so much time to ship products. And at the level where we've been working with this company, we have a client for probably almost 3 years. They're a very big company, one of the biggest advertisers in the world on Google. And working on the integration with them, and they're a super efficient company because they're eventually a marketing company. But just to see how their product team works, and so how do you manage that? To coordinate all the people on the team, also with with R&D and so on, when the teams are so large.
Right.
How can you still stay effective and not fall into this loophole where it's every process takes forever?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I mean, when you compare the likes of Twilio Segment to a VMware and a Microsoft, it's quite different, right? From a cultural standpoint, as well as just how quickly you can move. Because a company like Twilio Segment, which is more of a flatter organization than the likes of VMware and Microsoft, you have access to the leaders. You're able to effectively communicate with a variety of different stakeholders. When you compare this to a company like Microsoft, for example, a single business unit is probably larger than the size of Segment. And so you need to make sure that one, everyone has their specific priorities. How do you get their buy in? How do they understand and take them along for the journey every step of the way so that there are no surprises? You don't face any roadblocks there. And just making sure, it is about your relationships. It is about how you position yourself, having shared goals. That's kind of a big one. So when I personally think about my priorities, like whether they're OKRs or business priorities, how do you connect the two together? And I think that carries well, whether it's at a smaller company or a larger company. I think that trend is key. But, of course, you may have to work with a lot more stakeholders when you're at Microsoft versus at Segment. So it's a little bit different, but I think different approaches, but ultimately it is about the relationships and making sure you take folks along for the journey. And of course, it's about the people you work with, right? It's about working with high performing teams in particular, and making sure you embody that from a cultural standpoint as well.
Like you personally, do you prefer the flatter organization or the more hierarchical organization like you described at Microsoft? What do you think works better? I mean, it's also like it's a personal preference maybe, but also what functions better?
It's difficult for me to say. I'll tell you why. Because when I was at Microsoft, even though I was a part of Azure, I was on an incubation team where we had to actually act like a startup in order to get budget. We had to do everything a startup would do and somehow have limited resources. And so that was really exciting, but then also very challenging, right? But then when you think about the scale, working on integrated systems, which became Azure Stack, and Azure Stack was Microsoft's bread and butter for hybrid cloud. And to see that kind of impact, that's like, wow. But then when for me, Segment was probably one of the most exciting periods of time in my career because when I started, we were 300 people and then we grew to be 800 people. And I saw it through an acquisition and various different stages of that acquisition. I had to do joint messaging. And so there are different challenges and exciting periods in each. So I haven't quite figured it out yet. I think it really is ultimately about the team I'm working with and the product I'm working on as well, and just truly believing in that mission.
And within these organizations, I mean, you're talking about product marketing. I'm going to give the example of, this company is called Natural Intelligence, and they're really one of the biggest advertisers on Google. And what I've seen from them, like working with them for a long time, is that how their processes are really streamlined, how efficient they are, because they do spend a lot of money on advertising, and then every every fraction of a percentage is worth a lot of money. And as opposed to working with B2B, like in finance or insurance, where like things move very, very slowly. So how do you streamline processes? How do you set up your marketing teams to get results quickly? Because in marketing, I also believe that it's not just efficiency, also velocity is very important. You need to fail fast, as they say. You need to be able to execute quickly on things that work, to quit things that don't work, test new things. And when you're slow and as opposed to being like very quick and nimble, there's a huge difference, right?
Yeah. So first and foremost, it really is about your team, right? Understanding, what type of roles do you need to build out your team? What type of skill set do you need? Understanding what your business priorities, what your goals are, and that skill set, matching that up. And once you actually get that budget, that approval, that headcount, it's also about buy-in from cross-functional stakeholders, right? Making sure that they understand, okay, we have, this new marketing team, these new hires, whether it's product marketing, ABM, various different roles. So what are they actually going to be doing? What are they going to be running and implementing, and what types, like what is their ROI essentially, and how much pipeline will they be driving? So that is first and foremost. Once you do bring upon and build out a high-performing teams are really around a few things, right? It's what I've seen success be like is having mutual trust, respect for one another, where you have an open communication dynamic, right? Where you have clear roles and responsibilities. When there's any conflict that arises, because sometimes conflict does, that you're able to resolve this quickly and effectively, and making sure that you have a diverse group, right? So you want different perspectives, different experiences, because if everyone has the same background and thinks exactly the same way, that's not really, in my opinion, as effective as somebody pushing status quo a little bit higher. And pushing me like, well, why are we doing this? Have you thought about X, Y, and Z? And then, of course, just having accountability. Sometimes you want to experiment, you want to try things, right? How things are done one way and one day, as we're seeing today, especially in marketing, right? Could be very different tomorrow. And so that's allowing room to experiment, but also being able to move quickly and iterate. And if that experiment didn't go as you had once imagined, how do you revise that? And so those are just some of the ways that I've seen on the teams that I've led that have really helped us move quickly, I just think about so many scenarios in the last year alone where we've had to not stick within the confines of what our roles and responsibilities are, and sometimes be able to expand upon that and be like, okay, well, this is what the business needs today. So we need to do that. And we need to have a growth mindset, essentially.
Even though everyone has their own role and responsibility, and you want to have it that very clear, you provide quite a lot of free room for people to make up their own decisions and to be independent so that they can still be creative.
Absolutely. You want individuals to feel motivated to continue to build upon their career and not just be doing the same thing they've always been doing. There's so much more, right? And so at least the teams that I've led, there's like you have kind of like always on tactics, and then tactics that could be experiments or based on their career goals, what the business needs as well. There's room for that as well. So you got to keep things exciting.
Okay, and speaking about efficiency and streamlining processes, and everybody today speaks about AI, and then can you say if you're using AI today in a way that's very significant for the business? I mean, because I think many businesses now are speaking about AI, and sometimes it seems like people are using AI for the sake of using AI. And I'm just curious if you managed to find use cases where, I mean, I can tell you about us. We are using AI. It did speed up a lot of our development processes. Like, we have a strategy engine that really maps all the relevant topics for a business. It can identify all the relevant topics and give every topic, the value that this topic has for the business. If you drive traffic of people interested in this topic, how many potential conversions you can get from there, and so on. We use AI in editing content and so on. We don't use it in generating content. We think that's not the right way to use it, even though most people try. So yeah, I'm very curious if today at Segment, if you what ways are you using AI, if it's really effective for you?
Yeah, so there are different departments that do use AI regularly. That being said, for our product alone, we have generative AI capabilities as part of our CDP, which we've We announced at Signal 2023. And so we are working through that on our roadmap overall. But internally, I mean, like within specific teams, right? Like if you think about the demand gen function, marketing operations, that is where I think a lot of companies have seen this, where you can actually see those areas within marketing are specifically being transformed a little bit quicker than other areas. But I mean, I personally would love for AI to make a product marketer's life a little bit easier, right? When you think about certain processes and certain day-to-day tasks where you could free up your time and be a little bit more purposeful to driving business impact versus some of the nitty-gritty.
Scaling your content marketing and SEO efforts can be difficult. If you're looking for a partner to help you succeed, Entail AI has the right tools to help you achieve your marketing goals. Find out more at the link in our bio or go to entail.ai to check out our range of solutions.
Yeah, but do you feel like, I mean, people are talking about ChatGPT and everything you can do there. And if you go now, go to YouTube and just type, marketing AI or AI in marketing, or if you Google that, you see all those snake oil salesmen telling you use this prompt or that prompt that they're gonna change your life. And I can't see that I've seen this happen. I mean, I'm using ChatGPT. It helps me here and there. There's certain things that you can even do on a recurring basis with it. But I can say that it has helped us more in dev, in R&D, with the product that we're working on. But in my day-to-day as a marketer, it does help. But for example, I will use it if I need to write something. I don't know, I need to write some very precise copy. So I would write my idea and ask it for certain variations of what I'm doing. And usually it won't give me very good results. And but maybe I can get a few ideas and construct my sentence out of take 5 different sentences and combine them into one. But for me personally, I haven't seen I haven't. I mean, it can help me if I want to write an email. I don't know exactly how to write it. I put it there and I ask it to rephrase it, and then I need to go and correct it. So it's kind of like an assistant, not a very good one, but it is a kind of an assistant. So I can say it does help us with R&D and with editing content. There's still a lot of problems. When you edit content, it may omit, sometimes the most important parts. It may change the meaning. We've had a situation where it changed something in a medical article where we had to really go and fix it. It could have been not a nice situation. So yeah, I'm really wondering if you had any different experience besides the hype, if it's really worked.
Yeah. So having been a part of working on a CDP for the last 3.5+ years, this very much positions the CDP more. I'll tell you why, because it is about the data quality, right? ChatGPT compiles everything that's out there. Doesn't mean it's necessarily on point and correct, right? It may not be exactly specific to your positioning and help a product marketer and be like, hey, we could replace all marketers. I think, right now it could assist with, if you're doing research, maybe it compiles everything concisely. But that being said, it doesn't mean it's accurate, right? You still need that human perspective to really take it across the line, where I would say right now it's only a little bit of value add, but we'll see over time, right, how things evolve. But it is about the data quality. And today we're not there yet.
When it just came out, I was obsessed with it. They really find how is it going to change our business model and so on. And we had in the first few months, every call I had with customers or with product or prospects, it was just about that. And we've had clients saying, this changes everything. We need to see how we create content like this or like that. It should reduce content creation costs. I was told them, because we're about content, and about creating quality content at Entail. And I used to tell them, do you think that Shopify made e-commerce easier or more difficult? So yeah, you can open a Shopify store without a developer, perhaps, even though you still need a developer if you want to have a good store that stands out today. But then because everyone can, then people started drop shipping. So drop shipping became irrelevant because now everybody now can have a proper store and sell like real stuff, not just, things from China to Americans, like this is what drop shipping is basically. So e-commerce became more difficult because of Shopify. You need to invest more in marketing. You need to do shipping better. The expectations are much more demanding than before. And so with AI, my point was that content is going to become more difficult and more expensive than before because everyone now can create content. There's a hyperinflation. So you need to create gold, not print more money, which means it's more expensive. So I had to argue about this in the beginning. And then we took a completely different, like we went completely against the grain when it comes to content creation. Like we don't generate any content with AI. We create all the content with experts, which is pretty much what we're doing now, getting expert perspectives, personal experience and expertise. And then, so we're creating the strategy with AI. We're editing, using AI in editing the content, but all the content is based on the human experience and like really about expert perspectives, and also like went much more into video and so on. So we found ourselves in a much better position than in the beginning. But I did have a lot of discussions about it, and I feel now I just asked you this question now. I didn't really plan on asking it, but because of your position, everything, it was very interesting to me, and I feel now I can say that I think I'm going to get a similar answer from most people if I speak to them about that the expectation was very high, but in fact today for most people it may play a significant role in transcribing audio into text. Okay, it's very helpful, but it didn't turn our world upside down. Maybe in development it helps a lot. It opened a lot of doors, a lot of like bottlenecks there, but and there's a lot of new tools. But in general, marketers are still marketers.
Yeah. Yep. It really, I would say, it really rocked the marketing world. And still, we're probably still feeling the effects of it. But I totally agree with your perspective on that.
I think, by the way, when it comes to marketing, the real big change that it brought about, it sent us back to basics, where content marketing is about your expertise, about sharing your experience. It's not anymore like having a writer that writes something for the company, because that's not valuable anymore. You need to create better content. And also it shifted more power to the individuals, because now you can film yourself, talking about anything that you're an expert on. You can edit it for free on CapCut and all these like free editing software, or not even just free, but also paid. But you can create amazing effects because of AI in editing and so on. So as an individual, you can create amazing content. And so it shifted more power to individuals. So I think that's maybe one of the most important effects, and people aren't speaking about that yet. But you do see that with influencers, and you see more and more people, individual people, like taking the attention instead of just companies doing it as through paid channels and so on. Yeah, that's what I feel. So, but let's speak about a little bit about your marketing strategies at Segment. I mean, as product marketing. So maybe you can just outline that like in high level, because of the nature of your product. So what are the strategies that you're using?
Yeah. So marketing strategies at Segment over time have evolved, right? But in particular, we target both a technical audience as well as marketers. And we have always on tactics as well as specific campaigns. So you may come across, some of our key moments and most successful initiatives have been CDP Week, which is a virtual 1 to 2 day event that we now do every quarter. It's really exciting. It's for both a technical and non-technical audience, and it takes you across with very, very much our customer stories, real life examples, our use cases end to end. as well as our Signal conference. So that is hosted by Twilio, and that is our marquee conference every year. And of course, beyond that, we have our product launches. Some things that we saw that were very effective, which is more so middle of funnel, are our product tours. So product tours, it's actually one of our most successful campaigns to date, but it's essentially capturing specific themes as well as a demo on Segment. And so it could be across a variety of different verticals, and it just depends on the moment in time. And then, of course, we have our webinar series, and we have paid activity as well. But those are just some examples. Those have been some of my favorite, probably product tours. And then we did do a series with a few thought leaders, analysts, especially most recently when we got put as a leader with IDC for financial services. So it was really exciting chatting with some analysts about that.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting that you mentioned product tours, because I usually refer to them like to even call it like bottom of the funnel, because I mean I'm thinking, based on what you're saying, that I was wrong about it, because I'm looking at product tours as if somebody is already a customer, then you maybe want to take them through a product tour to see how to use the product. But you're saying that you're using that for marketing, you're showing how your product works, and that's how you attract new customers. But that's like super bottom of the funnel. So also conversion can be quite high. So how do you attract people to these product tours? I mean, do you build it like webinars, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it's across a few different tactics, right? It's across top of funnel campaigns. So those could be webinars, it could be thought leadership content, ebooks, it could be blog posts following it as well. A big field event perhaps could bring leads there. So if we're focusing on financial services, for example, there's a financial services event called Enterprise Connect. So maybe that actually brings leads over, and a product tours like a follow-up pull through. And sometimes we use product tours as pull through, like our big Signal conference. That was a major one, and we had a variety of different tactics leading up to Signal. But then our pull through activity from that conference they were product tours. And of course, we can't forget ABM tactics as well. That's a huge part of our efforts, and that's a little bit further down the funnel for us. We do things like a podcast. It's tackling it's one-to-one, or just like having more curated conversations. It's about quality leads versus quantity. And so that has been really, really great. ABM in particular, for some of our partner marketing activities in particular. But yeah, that's been kind of our bread and butter on the Segment side.
So how long does it so if you do a product tour, is it like is it like a webinar where you take people like, I don't know, about 45 minutes, and you really like take them through the product and you answer questions? And do you use this, like, do you record it and use it like across, I don't know, probably YouTube, maybe on other social media and your website?
Yeah. So a product tour, it's about 45 minutes or so. It's about 35 minutes, 30 minutes of content, which really tells you what Segment is, why you need Segment, the value of Segment in particular. And then from there, it's a live demo that we do, and it's open Q&A. So folks have the ability to ask questions, and it's quite interactive. And it's been a top campaign of ours. It's really exciting because each of our demos, it just, like, depending on the topic, it can be curated very differently. And so it's interesting to see then what types of questions attendees are asking. Really gives us a feel for, okay, these are what our prospects are looking for from us. And it gives us just a lens into the market as well.
I think it sounds like a very good strategy. Yeah, I think we're going to adopt it. It sounds like a very good idea. So thanks for that. Maybe you can name a few challenges and how you overcome them. I mean, what challenges you face as a product marketer with your go-to-market strategy?
A few challenges could be, right, especially in this time period we're in, could be business priorities evolving, right, as the market evolves. and really staying up to speed with that. You may be working on an initiative and having to adapt pretty quickly. One example of this was before our Signal conference. That's when AI was really, really making its presence known within tech. And 6 weeks before Signal, we updated our messaging to be more appropriate, staying up to date with our market trends, making sure we highlight the right products, working very closely with our product leadership team, taking a deep lens into our pricing and packaging as well, because there was so much changing at that point in time that it wouldn't have been as effective to go to market with the message we previously had. So it was just about like moving very quickly. And that means motivating your team, being able to communicate all these business changes, all these market changes, as well as maybe it's like even our packaging, right? So how do you get folks on your team on board, excited about this just shift and just staying up to speed with that? I would say that's been one, as well as, within product marketing, and maybe marketing in general, right? It is about pipeline. And so pipeline for us, I would say our marketing team has been like one of the best, because we were driving a very large percentage segment of pipeline in particular. Very impressive, more than I've seen in my entire career, actually. And it's very important for marketing to be data oriented in anything we do, right? And so with product marketing, sometimes some businesses have a difficult time really showcasing that. So it's important in anything you do that you have KPIs, that you have metrics, that you're able to carry those through and see what success looks like. And sometimes it's about the journey. If your lead actually lands and becomes a customer, you as a product marketer need to go across that entire journey, work with your sales organization, and be able to highlight that, in particular in partner marketing, because I also own that team. That was exceptionally present, right? It's how we drove pipeline, the partnerships we had, such as with like AWS, Snowflake, Databricks, Mixpanel. It was really important for some of those joint campaigns that we were running to highlight those enterprise customers, which was some of our bread and butter, as well as ABM tactics. That's been a key area where we've been able to highlight customers in particular. I would say that's probably been the larger challenges, which product marketing, we have to evolve and overcome. And it's really important in this day and age anyways to be data oriented, right?
I mean, we went through very similar challenges with like all the changes with AI. We completely changed processes, from here to there. And like while we're delivering, the entire team needed to adapt. And they also, like you say, they need to be on board and excited about the new changes. While we're a company that deals with content creation. So we're like at the center of the storm, like when everything is changing, and we want to stay relevant, and we want to lead, we also want to lead the market, which I think we've succeeded in that. But it's been a hell of a year since ChatGPT came out till we kind of like, it took us a year to stabilize things and like start a new path. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from,
It made things a little bit more interesting, I would say.
Definitely. It made us innovate. I'm quite happy with the results, by the way, but it really made us innovate even more than we need to as a startup. Okay, Sonia, thank you very much. I definitely learned a lot. For sure you have a lot of experience and insights. So it's been very beneficial for me also personally to speak to you. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Entail AI podcast. Join us next time for another masterclass when we sit down with a marketing luminary to reveal their path to success.